So, interesting headline here on the motoringchronicle.com. Record EV market share, but weak private demand frustrates ambition. Now, I've spoken a lot about the percentages that car manufacturers are having to hit when it comes to how many electric vehicles they're having to produce to meet the ZEV mandate, the zero emissions vehicles mandate. A lot of controversy around that, and I think that is probably to do with this, the findings of this article here. So let's have a look at this, guys, and I'll give my thoughts on it as always at the end. Full article on the motoringchronicle.com as always. The UK new car market recorded its second successive year of growth, with 1.9 million new cars reaching the road in 2024, a rise of 2.6% on the previous year, according to the latest figures from the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, SMMT. In the final month of the year, the market remained flat at 140,000 units, a marginal minus 0.2% decline, capping off a challenging year for the sector as manufacturers strove to create demand for electric vehicles in a bid to meet new mandated sales targets. Ford are apparently going to get a £100 million fine for not meeting their targets, and other manufacturers will probably have to endure a similar fine as well. It's all to do with the ZEV mandate and what it demands basically from manufacturers. It's a very controversial issue. I've already gone through it several times. Do check out that video if you've not seen it already, of course. But over the full year, growth was delivered entirely by fleets, up 11.8% to reach 1.1 million units, accounting for a record 6 in 10, nearly 60% of new car registrations. Conversely, registrations by private buyers fell by 8.7% to 746,000 units, less than in 2020 when social distancing restrictions during the pandemic shut down the market for 3 months. The far smaller business sector saw uptake fall by 3.1%, down to 42,000 units. The first year of mandated targets for new zero-emission vehicles finished with another strong December performance, with 43,000 new battery electric vehicles (BEV) registrations accounting for 31% of the market, the highest since December 2022's record 32.9%, and as a result BEVs made up 19.6% of the market, around 381,000 units in 2024, up by more than a fifth from 67,000 units from last year, but fell short of the 22% demanded by the mandate. So some manufacturers will have probably gone above that. For example, Tesla, because, they're all electric vehicles, and some will have been below it, like Ford, like we've already established. And on top of that as well, that is despite having what is described as unsustainable benefits and encouragements when it comes to these electric vehicles. Even though it's not sustainable by the manufacturers, they're doing everything to try and avoid some kind of fine. And it's still, even then, not enough. Industry has pulled every lever to achieve its target, with manufacturers discounting totaling more than 4.5 billion last year, an amount that is not sustainable in the long term, like I just established. Billions of pounds of investment in new technologies and products over the past decade have delivered a record 132 ZEV models to the UK market, up 30% since 2023 to account for a third of all models available, with an average range of almost 280 miles, more than 2 weeks of driving for most people. Not me. Not me. That's like a week. One of the major constraints to growth, however, has been lackluster demand from private buyers, with only 1 in 10 choosing an EV in 2024. Petrol remained the highest popular powertrain among these buyers, commanding 61% of demand, with hybrid electric vehicles (HEVs) in second place at 16%. Conversely, around 64,000 more BEVs were registered by businesses and fleets than a year ago, with such vehicles representing a quarter, 25.4%, of those segments' registrations, and demonstrating the effectiveness of the compelling tax incentive afforded to non-private buyers. Across the total market, pure petrol and diesel car registrations fell by 4.4% and 13.6% respectively, as more buyers swapped to either BEVs or to lower emission hybrid electric vehicles, which were up 9.6%, and plug-in hybrids, which were up over 18%. Consequently, average new new car average CO2 has fallen by 6.2% to 102 grams per kilometre. While this will assist some manufacturers with mandate compliance, the extent to which it will help is remaining unclear until confirmed baseline CO2 figures are provided by the government. Meeting the mandate threshold in 2025 will be even more intense as the target is now 28%, requiring an EV market uplift of just under 50% in a year. It's not happening. They need to revise those figures. I've already gone into it in depth, but it needs to be said again. That is shocking. Action is needed to amend the regulation to reflect the reality of constrained market and ZEV demand falling to grow in line with expectations. When the previous government drew up plans for the mandate, the 2024 BEV market was forecast to be almost 20%, or around 75,000 units, larger than has been evaluated. With manufacturer support at record but unsustainable levels, government must do more to stimulate private demand and challenge charge point operators to accelerate rollout, ensuring the UK has a reliable, affordable and comprehensive nationwide network of infrastructure that dispels any doubts about potential EV buyers having harboured so even more drivers will make the switch. And there's some quotes there and also some stats for you guys. I'm sure you'll probably pause the video and have a little look at those tables, but the full article as always is on the motoringchronicle.com if you want to have a go and have a look. If you're on YouTube and you're viewing this, you'll be able to click the link as always. But if you're on Microsoft, just go onto the website. We can't put links in the description, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, it's just what it is. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below, guys. Yes, I mean, it's not a surprise. It's kind of what we expected, but to see the figures actually in there, 4.5 billion they're pumping into these EVs, and it's still not enough. They need to revise the figures. There's no other way around it, basically. Just like my camera, they are not focusing on the right thing right now. There we go. That's better. You can see me now. But yeah, so thoughts in the comments below, guys. I'll bring you plenty more news on this as it develops. I mean, Ford won't be the only one that gets fined. There'll be some other big fines as well, I imagine, for some other manufacturers. Which ones those will be, we don't know. But just judging off the noise that's been coming out of some of them, Nissan's probably going to be one of them, I imagine. We'll see what happens. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys. We'll bring you all the good news, all the bad news, and everything in between here on the motoringchronicle.com. Have a good one, guys, and we'll see you very soon.